Let's continue with our next speaker, who is going to be Osváth Júlia from Earth Overshoot High School. Júlia is a sophomore student at Engame Akadémia, and she is well known for her interesting, passionate, but mostly educative speeches and her limitless curiosity. You will be able to notice these extraordinary qualities more while listening to her next. In the past months, she was working together with her mentor, Bea from Budapest Toastmasters, to develop an influential speech about a topic that shows how fragile and unsustainable our economy is, and it will make you reevaluate your actions and the world around you. So our next speaker before the lunch break, please welcome Osváth Júlia, who is going to talk about the future where Earth Overshoot Day does not exist.
Put your hands up if you would like to have a world to live in 30 years. Me too. But do you think that the lifestyle we lead can go on without killing our planet? Have you heard about Overshoot Day? It's the day when we use up all the resources Earth provides us for that year. It can be calculated regarding the whole world, countries separately, or even for individual people. In 2022, this day was on the 28th of July. Hungary's Overshoot Day was the 30th of May. This means that only in 1 year, we used up 3 years' worth of resources. That's crazy. When I decided that I'll be working with this topic, I started to dig a little deeper and found a quiz on the internet. It answers as the question, do I reach my own personal overshoot day? I started to fill out with great confidence that I do not. I recycle plastic, paper, and glass, I take showers instead of taking a bath, and I don't use disposable plastic bottles. But then the question started, and I had to admit that I do prefer being taken by car instead of taking the bus. I eat meat pretty often, and I can't always say no to a good new-looking shirt. By the end of the quiz, I was convinced that I'm killing the planet all by myself. Of course, that's not true, but we do have way more responsibility than we like to admit. This is the point where I would like to invite all of you for a little self-reflection. Ask yourselves the question, do I do everything I can for our planet? If your answer is yes to that question, I really admire your confidence, and I hate to break it to you, but you're wrong. There is always more to be done. And that's what brings us to the second question, what more can I do? To answer this, we need to look at 5 topics a bit deeper. Population, food, energy, planet, green areas. Population. Our population is growing rapidly, constantly. If we take a closer look, we can see that the biggest growing tendency is in developing countries. Giving opportunities and education to people results in fewer births. So, since there's constantly more and more of us, we need to use less and less energy. Second topic, how cities and towns function nowadays. We live in these massive residential areas where nothing else can be found besides houses and apartments. We go to school and work somewhere else, we do our shopping somewhere else, and the doctor is again somewhere else. Without realizing it, we end up going extreme distances in our day-to-day life. That takes up a lot of time, and that's inconvenient, but the biggest problem is the amount of energy we use to do so. I live in Erd, and I also go to school there. It's only about 10 minutes by bus. But if I want to come to Budapest, it can be 40 minutes an hour. And considering that basically everything is in Budapest, that happens pretty often. Lucky for us, Carlos Monteiro introduced the idea of the 15-minute city, where everything is reachable in 15 minutes. School, work, offices, healthcare, shopping, everything. I know that we can't just stand up and redesign Hungary from its core, but what we can do is that we can be more conscious. I'm sure at least some of you noticed that when you buy a train ticket, it's printed on the bottom how much carbon dioxide emission we spare the environment from. And if you didn't know that, well, this is your call to hop on a train and check it out. Third problem, food. 1/3 of the produced amount of food is being wasted. Locally grown plant-based products would be ideal to consume, but that's just not always an option or too hard at first. This is why I advise all of you to do mini challenges for yourselves. I decided that I won't eat meat for a month last August because I wanted to try out what's it like to be a vegetarian. I was surprised how easily I could give up meat. Then September came, school started, and it just wasn't an option anymore to not eat any meat. But since then, I have decreased the amount of meat I consume by a great deal. Fourth problem, energy. By decreasing the carbon dioxide emission by 50%, overshoot day would be set back by 13 days. Recently, I did a presentation at school about where we get our heat energy from in our houses. I was surprised that according to the web shops and companies, everything is an eco-friendly option. I'm not kidding, they said it even wood-fired boilers. So it's really important to do our own research and make sure that the gadgets we buy are actually sustainable options. Fifth problem, the constantly and rapidly decreasing green areas. Current green areas should be conserved and more should be reforested. Regenerative agriculture should be applied when it comes to growing food. In Budapest, these community gardens can be found. In local parks, everybody has the opportunity to grow their own fruits and vegetables. It's not only a great way to grow our own food, but also a place that builds community. Eating less meat, using public transportation are just a few options. But I really hope that when we go home from here, every single one of you will change at least one minor thing in their life. Because by setting back overshoot days 6 days a year, there would be no such thing by 2050.
Much. My question for you would be that you mentioned you did this little not eating meat challenge, and as it's so popular now on YouTube and TikTok doing challenges, would you consider to do a challenge like this again with meat or sugar or bread or even for a longer time period?
Yes, I do. I'm planning to go vegetarian on a long-term basis in the future, but there are just small things that we can do, and I would like to try out more of those as well. For example, not buying clothes for a certain amount of time.
Thank you very much.